what do we have? Same thing as always, you have our Asia range. What do we have? Build up, build up, build up. This time in in Frankfurt Open. Mine inducement here, right? Guess what? Now we're having our break of structure. We could never trade this by alone. So how would we know that the price will not come down here? Touches the equilibrium and then will be ready to go, okay? And of course, you combine it with price and time, always the same. And this just adds the last confirmation that you know, okay, for certainty, this is done. You're waiting for the internal break of structure. You trade the mitigation of the so-called LIT in here. Again, so what is this going on here? Again, how would we know in a price action here, the price is ready to reverse or even goes lower? We would never, because we would wait for mitigation in here. We look at our entry helper, we see we have a LIT currently. So what is going to happen? Of course, price reverses without mitigating the proper mitigation. Why? It mitigated the equilibrium. Okay, just gives away in here. Same thing in here. How would we know the price is ready to induce Asia range now? First of all, we could not know, but what do we see? Price mitigates something in here, touches the equilibrium, points upwards. We expect the inducement high out of Asia range. So now we're ready to trade into the inducement. And of course, we will get our inducement trade confirmed with the LIT in here. And then we can look for reversal trades. Simple, easy, still very, very powerful to use. Okay, so guess what? We have MIM5. What do we have? Nothing in this case. We're ranging, right? Ranging. Are we done yet? Do we know what's going to happen? Price action is not clean at all, is it? That looks like a mess. There's nothing you could really use in here. You have your minor inducement in here, but what should happen? Should it look lower or higher? You don't know. The only thing you know, okay, you're starting this up channeling thing, minor break of structure, equilibrium starting to point upwards, starting to mitigate, starting to give you the first LIT. So what's going to happen? You break it down to the M1. You're getting your first break of structure in here. You're finding your imbalance in here. Right? Looks like this. And then, of course, you expect a continuation. Break of structure, mitigation, same thing all over again. Confirmed. We would never trade this in here ever. But guess what? The LIT gave it away. Obviously, you break it down to the 1 minute. Same thing all over again. Break of structure, inducement into the mitigation, confirmed. And this is how you trade pretty much continuation trades, very, very easy out of a completely messed up, pretty much intraday plays in here. Again, not clear, but again, it will be so much more clear afterwards. Again, what's going on here? Are we done yet? Are we done whatever? Trying to go to the downside yet? Just by looking at this, what is going on? We get our second pretty much LIT in here. What can we do? Right, we switch to the 1 minute once again. What is going to happen? This was the first entry in here. We have our 5 minute LIT. So we switch to the 1 minute. There's your imbalance in here. Right, so guess what's going to happen? We missed our zone here. So just a little joke with you, whatever. Because we cannot catch them all, of course not. But it's very easy in spotting to spot and to go higher. Just confirms it over and over again. But again, we cannot catch them all. And we all said about that. So pretty much how we trade inducement trades with that, very, very easy once again. It's not done yet. So we had our first LIT in here, second LIT here. Now we had our final inducement confirmed with what London close in here. So what we're going to do, we have our inducement, we trade our mitigation of the inducement, replacing our imbalances after the inducement, after the internal break of structures. Not clean to trade yet. So what we're going to do, we're switching to the 1 minute. There is nothing we could mitigate. There's no imbalances. Everything is properly delivered. So what we can do, we're waiting for our LIT in here. There's no imbalance we could place a pending on. Break of structure. Same thing all over again. No mitigation. So we're looking at the entry helper. There is our LIT. So what we're going to do, place the trade in here. Stop goes above here. LIT. So what's going to happen? Reaction. Okay. Easy stuff. So what's going to happen on the 5 minute? Goes lower. What's your target? Liquidity. Easy stuff. Would not be tradable without the entry helper. Just so you see how it works. Okay. Impossible to trade. It's not clear. That's why the entry helper makes stuff a lot clearer. And remember, if price action itself is not clear at all, you can always use the entry helper to confirmations. But again, if you don't like it, you don't need to use it. But in overall, it's so underestimated. If you use it the right way, it's insanely powerful. Again, I can just tell you, use it, you will love it. It gives you so much more confirmations, okay? So how we will use it though, again, if price action is like this and the entry helper is like this, then you completely ignore it, okay? If it's not nice, completely just avoid it, because if price action is not nice and the entry helper is not nice, completely just ignore it, okay? So if it's like this, you can consider it, but again, what is going on here? The equilibrium points downwards, so it's not that powerful, but again, if price action is good, this can also be a pretty much confirmation. The best one is this though. If this happens, that's pretty much a no-brainer to take. But if price action lines up, gives you a break of structure, gives you an imbalance in here, which you're already looking for, trading in here, and then the entry helper gives you a liquidity equilibrium touch to confirm the equilibrium and price as well, that's the most powerful shit you will ever see, and I can promise you that. That fucking shit is so crazy. Again, it sounds so stupid at the beginning, but the more you dig into it, it's just insane. It's just so good. Again, you will love it. Okay? So, guess what? Same thing here. If it looks downwards, not so good. Okay? But guess what? If it points upwards, perfect. Ideal scenario, this one. Okay? This is the ideal scenario. Break of structure. Look for imbalances. Wait for the touch of the equilibrium to confirm the whole move. Pointing upwards. Perfect stuff. That is accurate as shit. Like, that's literally crazy. Okay? So, how are we going to use it? Again, simple stuff. If you have, for example, a timing trap, like New York trap, whatever, what do? You wait for what? First of all, sometimes the inducement itself can be a LIT, which is the most powerful ever. Okay? Then what do? You don't trade this, for example. You wait again for break of structures in here. This is your imbalance zone. That's confirmed with messy LIT in here. But guess what? Trading the order flow. This is your decisional in here with the last imbalance. Not so clean without entry helper is a perfect leg on entry helper. So this is 100% a trade you could look for as well. When does it happen? London close to the minute. Just again, price action by itself, not clean. If you combine the entry helper in it, perfect lead point and downwards makes the whole thing clearer and more certainty to take it. Okay? Same thing in here. How would you know the price is not ready to come over in here? You expect price to mitigate properly. You got the LIT in here. Price is already done, mitigating the equilibrium and is over to go. That's how you could decide maybe, okay, after this internal break of structures in here, sorry, this one, obviously you could start looking at maybe something in here on the 1 minute later. Again, just makes the whole thing clearer and clearer and clearer. Same thing in here, medium inducement of Asia in this sense, what you have, false break of structures, perfect, right? Sorry, obviously normal break of structures here, because this is the medium inducement, right? Of course, now that locks it in. So what are going to happen? What you're going to expect after that is switching it to the 1 minute, taking your extreme and your decisional, which one's going to be mitigated. You don't know at this stage, you're just reacting. So what's going to happen? Of course, you're waiting, price action to react properly, comes back all the way in this zone. Awesome, right? So if you look now at the entry helper, what is going on here? Perfect leg. So confirms this push in here. Perfect. So you break it down to the 1 minute, right? Because you were not sure if it taps into here or here. Let's say you don't like limits, tap perfectly into the decisional here in the 1 minute. So now you're having the same thing all over again, taking this zone in here just for mitigation area, right? And guess what? After the reaction, taking the mitigation of here. So you're trading the mitigation of the mitigation pretty much on the 1 minute. And then of course, on the 5 minute looks like this. LIT locks it perfectly in. And of course, price will react perfectly off of that. It also will help you with identifying. Let me just see the chat here. Is that what you used for Instagram posts? I mean, I actually use it nowadays a lot because I underestimated myself at the beginning first because I thought like I will not use like an indicator and shit. But again, it's just so fucking good. There's no even point of not using it because it's actually so accurate and it just makes your life easier. So I'm being very honest with you. That's why we show it to you guys. So yeah, of course, why not use it? So then again, how would we know that the inducement is done? Look at this price action. It's just crazy. It's just channeling forever. what we're going to do is we're looking at the entry helper. We completely ignore everything until what? Finally, price goes lower than the equilibrium here. And it's the first touch of the equilibrium. Okay, from the downside. Of course, you always wanted to touch it from the downside to go lower then, right? So it's the first time ever that it happened in here. So that just shows, okay, equilibrium was mitigated properly, ready to go. So that's how you can trade it like this. Of course, that's more like an advanced version, but just to show why you do it, how we do it. We wait for the break of structure in here. What's going on? This not so nice LIT in here, but still confirms the whole thing a little bit better. Okay, just continues low at this stage. If you don't like this one, no problem. You're trading the equal lows, reaction, same thing. Now you're getting a perfect LIT in here, taking this trade in here instead, makes the whole thing nicer. There's your reaction, there's your mitigation of the equilibrium, and then the whole thing just flew down. And if you can see the whole price action in here, it's not nice. It's not nice, but guess what makes it nice? Perfect LIT of the inducement in here, perfect LIT of the reaction, and perfect reaction of the mitigation in here. Price action not nice, entry helper crazy nice. Okay. Again, don't underestimate that shit. It's crazy powerful. So what is going to happen after here? Let me just check the next slide in here. So same thing. We have a minor inducement. We have a medium inducement into mitigation. So what's the logical next things to do? Right? We mark out our, this is the 1 minute then, right? So, no, sorry, still the 1 minute. So what are we going to do? We're taking our extreme already, which is of course perfectly in line with London session. So what we're already going to see, price is going under the equilibrium, perfect. We would expect, of course, this extreme mitigation in here, or whereas the last imbalance, it's not a decisional clean, but you already see that the imbalance is from here to here at this point. Of course, the normal thing to do is to wait and this spot is mitigated, but as you can already see, the whole day was a perfect cycle. If you go back to the 5 minute, this whole cycle, you saw it 50 million times so far. Minor inducement, medium inducement into mitigation, with perfect London open trading here. You're waiting for your internal break of structure. Awesome. Now I would wait for mitigation in here, right? But sometimes, again, price will not do that. So it gives you no opportunity in the extreme and not clear decisional. Okay? So what you're going to do instead, you wait until price does what? Makes the internal break of structure, gives a reaction. Not of a sudden you see, okay, now this is my LIT. So this is your not clean decisional. Okay. So do I wait until price goes here? Or is the whole cycle completed anyways? I got a break of structure and I take the not so clean decisional in here based on the LIT. I would go for this one for sure to not miss the whole day. And obviously comes back, mitigates in here, order flow entry, awesome. And what is going on in the 5 minute? Choops it. Okay, same thing with the reversal. So we have the choop in here. So now we have the inducement to the left, right? So we're going to the 1 minute in here. Not clean price action at all. Nothing we would ever trade it. But what is the major inducement in here? Based on timing trap, 15 o'clock. This is actually LIT by itself, right? So my entries are usually on the extreme of the, again, mitigation of the inducement after break of structure. That's something we would never trade just based on price action here. Never. That's just way too crazy. But guess what? Timing, medium inducement, 1 minute play, break of structure. This is your inducement and timing, left the imbalances. And this also is, again, the LIT on the 1 minute. Okay. So guess what you do? You expect obviously a normal mitigation of retailers. So is this a smart money trap? Is this a mitigation of this inducement? Obviously price came here, mitigated, give the proper reaction in here, proper break of structures now. So you would expect, so normal entry would be here, right? Of course, and then go higher. That's the normal smart money. But guess, how would we define the entry helper? Look at it. So now what we have our inducement, which was the LIT, awesome. We have break of structure, into a mitigation of the inducement, reaction, taps into it, now being a LIT. Okay, awesome. Gives it away, awesome. But guess what? How we can get out of these smart money traps and how it even shows us that's a smart money trap. So guess what happened next after this one? It makes a new candle here, and all of a sudden it's like this. It's not LIT anymore. It's already failed the LIT, but it's still in this zone. So what you do instead is you cancel out this trade. It's just a scratch trade, because if you don't scratch it here, you get induced. It just grabs the liquidity lower to stop out these smart money traders. The whole play is still valid. So you just wait until the reaction. This is the imbalance candle after the inducement. Everything's mitigated in here. Minor break of structures in here. So guess what's happened next? Comes back. Gives you now a LIT after the inducement. Trade the mitigation. Simple. And that's how you made out of a messy, crazy chart action, which is confusing you probably. An easy approach just based on entry helper. It's crazy powerful. Again, you probably would not trade it otherwise. And then it tubes. Right? Don't underestimate that shit, I told you. Same thing here. You have your whole build-up, whatever, fake break of structure in here, finally taps into New York trap time, into the mitigation. You would know if I have an extreme, do you have like a decisional in here? What's the way to go for? I don't know. You make the 1 minute. You have this point in here or this point in here. Like how would you ever know? Entry helper could be an answer. Taps back into. So question just based on the entry helper, is this a zone you should look for? Sell in here? Yes or no? No, very good. Exactly no. Question, is this a spot now? Look at it. You're in the middle of equilibrium, huh? Interesting. So what does the entry helper say? Is that ready to go now, or should we wait for this being mitigated? It's ready to go. So why would you wait here to miss out the trade if price is technically already ready with a freaking $1 billion fund strategy, whatever, trading the equilibrium? Okay, I take that. Entry is here, and there's the tube. It's cheat codes, and it's so fucking easy. And a few guys made fun of it. Okay, playing yourself. I don't care. I will use that if it works. Okay. Right. So anyways, what does it do? You're in for liquidity. That's a good trade. You would never take it anyways. There's no chance of taking this trade if you just trade raw price action. Never. And what is it? A LIT on a 5 as well. Okay. Another one. What do you have? Normal cycle. What do you have? Equal lows here. Smart money trap turns immediately into FFS. Taps into inducement. Into what? Decisional in here. Timing. Perfect timing. So what do? We wait for the mitigation. Usually. Right? So no break of structure. No break of structure. So this is already risky to take because there's no break of structure. But the question is, could we take this trade here? Right? So could we take it here just based on the imbalance fill? Right? We're just jumping to the 1 minute. This is the 1 minute now. And we look at this zone. So should we take it? We're not sure. We're looking at the entry helper. Is that a LIT? It's crazy, no? If anything, it touches from the upside and will bounce off here. It's not close below and then touches from below, like this. So we don't take this trade here. So guess what happens? Price action induces this point for whatever reason. We don't even know. But guess what this inducement is now? Equilibrium starts to pointing downwards. Price is coming from the low side, touching the equilibrium. Okay. So can we take this trade here? Stop goes above here. Yeah, it's cheat codes. It makes messy price. There's no freaking way you could trade that without the entry helper. No freaking way. It just makes the whole thing clearer. Right? And there you go. That's your entry. Stop goes above the inducement, above in the mitigation. Based on an entry helper. Whoa. Guess what happens? There's your tube. Impossible to trade with raw price action. Would not be possible at all. 0 chances of taking this trade other than entry helper. It's crazy shit.